Hey, when we talk about super scaling our business, there's just two parts to it that we need. The first is systems, and the second is people. We need to build a good team. And this is a common problem that I see with the businesses that I coach and mentor. Building a team is not easy. We have people having problems with hiring, otherwise it's retaining people, or it's growing people together towards those organizational objectives that you have. And if you have these problems, then watch on, because in this video we cover how to overcome that so that your business can super scale as well. Hey, my name is Alvin. Welcome back to the channel. I put out videos like this to help you, the business owner, the founder, the entrepreneur, so that you can super scale your business to the next level. Today we're going to talk about the third principle in the 5E scale engine. The 5E scale engine is a methodology that I used way back when I grew Vodian.com from a $0 business to $30 million. And if you're interested in that as well, go check it out. I highly encourage you to check out the book, Super Scaling. It contains all my experiences and lessons and tells you a lot more about the 5E scale engine. You can find that book on Amazon or on my website, superscaling.com. So in the third principle, empower, this is the principle that comes after the first two principles. If you haven't checked out those videos, go check them out. I'll link them somewhere on this screen. The first principle is evolve, the second principle is envision, and now we come to the third principle, empower. Empower is where we talk about the team that we have, and these could be full-timers, they could be part-timers, outsourced people, they could be freelancers, people who actually work for our business. In this principle, we understand three main things. The three things that we need to understand: one, how to build an A-star hiring machine; two, how to create a company culture that encourages good work; and three, how to build out this organization. An organization is not a group of individuals, an organization is a team working together so that organizational objectives can be achieved. So let's dive in. So the first step, how do we actually find A-star players? We want A-star players, right? Because A-star players help our team and our business get to the next level. We don't want people who can't pull their weight, who are toxic, or who cannot contribute productively to our team. We want A-star players. The problem is though, what is an A-star player? That's one of the things that aren't usually clearly defined, and that's something that we should absolutely do before we hire people. The first thing is we need to know what the role is. What does that look like? What responsibilities? How does the day-to-day operations look like? What are the key deliverables? What are the KPIs? All that needs to be super clear, right? If you don't know all of it, that's fine, but we need to find out what the core is. This is what your business needs in order to have that function fulfilled. And then we can go start looking for people that can fill that role and be an A-star player for that role. The next thing that we need to do is to understand the culture that we have as a company. The company culture that we have, who you are as a business founder, as a business owner, means that the business is just an extension of you. Your values, your personality kind of extends throughout that business, and we need to find people that can fit into this personality, into this culture. This is important because it's just like a relationship. We don't become friends with everybody, neither do we get into romantic relationships with everybody. There are only certain kinds of people that can kind of gel with us and can kind of match who we are. It's the same thing for the businesses that we run as well. We need to find the people that we can actually match with, that we can actually fit with. And the reason why this is the case is because if not, then every business will be the same and everybody will be looking for the same kind of people. That's not the case. That's not the case for personal friendships, romantic relationships, and that's not the case for business as well. So we want to be very, very clear about what all these things are so that we can find the A-star players that we need. The role, the culture, as well as what kind of person constitutes an A-star player. Once we have all that clearly defined, then we can go start looking for them. In the book, Super Scaling, in the 5E scale engine, I break it down into a series of steps that you can follow so that you can actually get the right people through the doors and eventually joining your team. Here's one tip. Even in a job advertisement that you put out have qualification criteria there too. I like to use simple hoops that applicants have to go through so that I know if they are interested, so that I know they can follow instructions, and so that I know they actually read my job ad. Simple hoops could be things where I would ask them to have a certain subject title when replying to me, or I have a simple test where they have maybe 100 words that they type about the role. It could be, for example, 100 words about the company, so that I can test their understanding or test their language abilities or test whatever else that I want to test for. With that, you can start to filter out people. Because of all the people that apply for the role, I can guarantee that some of them won't read the job ad and therefore miss out this qualification criteria. Some of them will not be able to, for example, come up with 100 words that make sense, or 100 words that kind of fulfill what your expectations are. And in the end, you get a handful of people that we can eventually move along our interview process and start interviewing them, spending time to interview them to see if they are a good fit for our company. For the rest of the tips and for the rest of the ways they can actually build out a hiring structure, once again, go check out my book, go check out my website, superscaling.com. I detail all of that. The next thing is to create a cycle of good work. That's the second step in Empower that we want to talk about today. A cycle of good work is basically a company culture that works. I call this a cycle of good work because that was what I used in Vodian.com when I was growing the business from $0 to $30 million. And this is something that you can apply for your business as well. Company culture is not all about freebies and ping pong tables or free beer. I would classify all of that as welfare. What's more important is that we focus on the three things that all employees want. If you look at human psychology and why people go to work, I'm talking about white collar workers and people that are more professionals and looking for a career. If they fit this, then we know that these are the three things that they want. And the three things are meaning, mastery, and autonomy. Just these three things. With these three things, we can actually build up a company culture based on these three principles. Meaning basically means purpose. What is their job for? Why are they doing the work that they are doing on a day-to-day basis, or on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis? Sometimes we think that it's clear. If we hire somebody for web hosting, for example, and they join us, then obviously their job is about web hosting. But sometimes they don't even know that. Sometimes they might know that their role is about web hosting, but they don't know why they have to do the things that they do. Maybe it's chasing for bills to pay from the client. Maybe it's performing customer support. Why is that necessary? What happens if those roles are not performed well, right? We have to tell people these as they join our team, explaining to them the importance of their role, not just to external stakeholders like our customers or our vendors or our partners, but also the internal stakeholders like the people in our companies, the various departments, the various teams. How does customer support play with like the billing department, and why is that necessary? Or why is like the engineering department necessary, and how does your role affect them? All that is something that isn't clearly defined, isn't clearly explained, and needs to be worked on. The second thing is mastery, which is a continual improvement in the role that they play, right? This could be progress in the form of promotions, increments, training, exposure, or mentorship, or rotations into different departments. This just gives people the sense that things are progressing. It's just like playing a game, right? We play games because it gives us the sense of progress. You get new XP, experience points, you get new gold or items, or kill more and more monsters and enemies. That sense of progress is necessary for our work as well. Sometimes that's not there. So we need to work on that. And then the third is to have autonomy, where people have the freedom and space to work on the things that they are supposed to be working on. So this is just a broad overview. The third thing is to build an organization. And simply put, we just don't want our company to be a group of individuals. We want everybody to be working together as a team, to be team members. And for that to happen, everybody needs to understand what the organizational objectives are and how they play well with each other. A really good tool for this is an organizational chart. One is the name, of course, but more importantly, we want to find out what the function is. And this can be something that can be done even as a young startup to when you actually have a big team. Because even if you're a startup and you've only got like you and your co-founder and you're looking at your organization and you think that nothing is, there's no organization because everything's handled by the two of you, don't. Still spend time on creating an organizational chart, because we want to find out what the functions are in the organization and who's doing what. When you have a clear idea of who's doing what and what's required to run your business, you can now start to plan how do you actually hire for those roles. How can you actually get those roles properly defined so that you can actually fill them with the people. At the start, it's probably going to be you. You're going to multi-hat, you're going to play multiple roles, you're going to handle multiple responsibilities, but that's fine. In the future, months later, years later, we can start hiring the people that actually fill out those roles. One of the exercises that I like to do is to look at the roles that I play in the business and find out the roles that I absolutely suck at. The things that I don't like doing and aren't good at are probably the first things that I should be hiring for. And that's what happens in businesses in a growth stage. Again, this is a concept that I cover in greater detail in the 5E Scale Engine. So this is just a tip. That's a summary of the principle and power. The three things that we talked about are: 1. How to build an A-star hiring machine. 2. How to create a culture that fits our company and create that cycle of good work. And 3. How to actually build an organization and not just a group of individuals. So hopefully these three things give you lots of things to think about and give you a better idea of how to structure that process where you hire the right kind of people, you retain them in your companies, as well as you grow them to be a productive team. If you like videos like this, let me know. I want to read about your comments, so comment down below. I reply to all comments. Share this video with people who might like this, and more importantly, subscribe so that you'll be notified of videos that I put out in the future as well. Well, once again, take care, and I will see you in the next video.